Welcome to Chris 2A Gear Reviews, and from the title of the video states, today I'm going to be showing you how you can get you a good combat effective grouping at 100 yards if you're using the Unity Tactical mount with Sister Optic 2.26 inches over the rail, which equals a total of 3.47 inches height over bore. It's very important that I mention that 3.47 inches is the total distance between the center of your optic and your bore. That is very important to mention. Before I get into the ballistic calculator, show you some of the range videos, which all led me up to shoot this grouping right here at 100 yards on 1 power, running a EOTech EXPS 2-0. I'm going to explain to you exactly how I got to that point. But before we get to that, I have to give credit where credit is due. I watched a video on YouTube. After I watched that video, the light bulb in my head turned on and I knew exactly what I had to do. Let me show you the video that I seen on YouTube, which turned that light bulb on and helped me to accomplish what I accomplished today. And as I showed you previously, the YouTube channel is Delta34. And in this entire video, nothing but good quality information. I took a screenshot and you can see right there. Once I seen that right there, 3.47 height over bore. And then he did the little ballistic calculator with the animation. The light bulb went off in my head and I was off and running from there. So I just want to give credit where credit is due. Because without this video, I probably would have threw a 50-yard zero on there. And with that height over bore, a 50-yard zero ain't going to work. Let's go back to the table. So as you can see, I wanted to give credit where credit is due. Okay, so we'll run through the targets first. And then we'll go ahead and roll in some of the footage. Okay. Because I think I can explain it. But we'll still do some footage at the end for those who need a little bit more. Okay. So this is where we started off at, right here. I marked this target. I had a piece of tape right here and a piece of tape right here. That is exactly 2.2 inches in distance. So this where I was aiming, and I was trying to get my impacts to hit right here, which is 2.20 inches low at 25 yards. If you go online, you can use any of the free ballistic calculators, and you input 55 grain full metal jacket at either 2,800 feet per second or 3,100 feet per second. It don't matter. Out to 200 yards, the velocity don't mean nothing in the drop and your holds. If you put that information into your ballistic calculator and you put your height over bore at 3.47 inches at 100 yards, you'll hit point of aim, point of impact. But at 25 yards, you need to hit that 2.20 inches low in order for that to equal a 100-yard zero, as you can clearly see right here. So this was my first grouping right here. This is my second grouping. 25 yards, 2.20 inches low. Once we shot that second grouping, I immediately went to 100 yards. And this is the grouping I got. My first grouping was kind of over here a little bit. I made just one adjustment, one click to the left. And this is where we hit right here. Try to do a little precision work in the T-zone, as you can see right there. But I think zeroing at 25 yards, 2.2 inches low, then immediately going to 100 yards and doing this right here, all with just one power, no magnifier. Now imagine if I would have got the Unity Tactical mount and I would have went all the way in and got the flip the center magnifier mount and a magnifier of my choice, them groupers would have been tighter. But all of this was done with just one power. And this is what we got at 100 yards. And all I did was shoot at 25 yards and made my impacts hit 2.20 inches low. So, with all that being said, I mean, everything worked out. And I have to give credit to that YouTuber who did that video, because all the information he gave kind of turned that light bulb off in my head. And once I got that information, it was off to the running. So, yeah. Now, for those who kind of want a little bit more of a more detail, kind of see the ballistic chart, see some of the groupings as I actually fired them and shot them, we'll go ahead and roll in a little montage of video, starting off from the ballistic calculator to the first grouping I showed you, the second grouping, then finally a 100-yard grouping. With that being said, let's go ahead and get to that footage now. Okay, it might be a little easier if I just do a screen record. So you see we got 223 Remington, American Eagle full metal jacket. Unfortunately, they don't have 5.56, same damn thing. Okay, I got one for 2,800 feet per second on the low end, another for 3,100 feet per second, high end. As I stated before, out to 200 yards, the velocity means nothing. When we get to 250 yards, it's only a 2-inch difference. Zero range is going to be 100. The most important thing is, you see that right there? Sight height over bore, 3.47 inches. We're going to show out to 250 yards. Distance is going to be in 25-yard increments. Here we go. At 25 yards, regardless of velocity, you need to be hitting 2.2 inches low at 25 yards. And as you can see, that equals 100 yards. At 200 yards, the slower bullet, which is blue, 2.2 inches a drop. The green, which is the faster bullet, 1.17. At 250, the slower bullet, 6 inches a drop. The faster bullet, 4 inches a drop. So that's why I was saying out to 200, the difference is irrelevant. 250 yards, not that much of a difference. So if you don't have a chronograph like me, just go with the 2.20 inches low at 25 yards. Let's go to our first grouping. All right, we are at the range and it is time to put my theory to test. So I ran the ballistic calculator with that Unity mount, sitting the EOTech at a 3.47 height over bore. For 100 yards zero, I need to hit 2.2 inches low at 25 yards. And that's how I got this target set up. I'm going to be aiming here, and I'm going to move my impacts until they hit right here. And then we're going to go to 100 yards and verify. Let me pause the video until we call clear.
Forward, start shooting, range is hot.
Alright, let's go ahead, zoom the camera in on the target, and let's get to work. 100, so this is what we got going on. So this was my point of aim right here, and as you can see, we kind of starting to get that grouping going right there. Up here, I did the same thing, but I aimed right here. As you can see, we kind of got our grouping going. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to hang up a new target. And we're going to verify at 25, then we're going to 100. Alright, this is our second grouping at 25. Just like the other target, this is going to be our point of aim. This is where we're going to try to hit. After we leave from here, we're going to 100. Go to 100. We are on. We are on. We are on. Let's look at our work. So remember, we pulled up the ballistic calculator. I need to be hitting about 2.20 inches low. This was my aiming point. This is 2.2 inches low. Let me move that out the way so you can see. So as you can see, According to the ballistic calculator, we should be on at 100. We are about to move to that 100-yard line right now. All right, we got our target up at 100 yards. This is what we got going on. So, we on at 100. We're a little bit high, but we on at 100. I'm gonna go ahead and shoot a 5-shot grouping.
Take a few shots with the brace on. You shot an AK? I have.
I'm gonna make a one quick adjustment to the left. We'll pause the video. We'll start it back up once we call clear. You know what? I got about maybe 15-20 minutes in there. We'll just go ahead and finish all that up, center mass, maybe do a little work in the T-zone, and then we'll finish up for the day.
We'll be here. Looks like 4. Yes, sir. Thank you. I was shooting. That's all. I was shooting that new stuff. I was shooting what was on the right. You good looking? Oh yeah. It doesn't have to slack. Varnish. Oh yeah. Yeah. Don't mess with that. I'm happy. Don't take one shot. Come on. It's the history. You say you can shot. Pop it down, all the way down. Ready? That's it.
We are good at 100. So, if you're going to get that Unity tactical mount, if you pull up your ballistic calculator and you put your numbers in, if you zero at 25 yards and hit 2.20 inches low, you'll be on at 100. When you see the target downrange, you'll see exactly what I mean.
The firearm, lock the action open, grab your targets in your hands and step back behind the safety line. Thank you. cold. Do not handle or touch any firearm while the range is cold. You may now go down range and adjust your target's skin. When you come back, stay behind the safety line.
And then after the second shot of 50, it's just move 10 left about 45.
Okay, let's go down here and see what we did at 100. And using my little cheap old binoculars, I think we're pretty much good at 100. I think what I'm gonna do is we'll let everything sit how it is now. Once we get that flip to center magnifier mount and I decide what magnifier that I want to run, then we'll go ahead and clean it up and get the grouping a little bit more better. But once you see the target, you'll see that we pretty much good for government work, as they say. So my theory actually worked out. And I mean, of course it's going to work out. I mean, just putting the numbers inside of the ballistic calculator just to find it out. And this is what we got at 100. A nice little decent grouping too. All combat effective hits. Look at what we got at 100. Look at this right here. That's what we did in the T-zone. And that's what we did center mass. So my theory worked out as it should. If you're running a Unity tactical mount with sits your EOTech at a 3.47 height over bore. If you zero to hit 2.20 inches low at 25 yards, this is what you'll do at 100. The proof is in the pudding. Let's go to the house, go to the table, talk about it some more.